All right. What is going on, everybody? I am ThiccTeddy, and this is another Wednesday night buy high, sell low. We're going to be talking about a lot of good stuff today. I have a pretty packed night for us, and let's have a good time, right? Let's enjoy the stream. Let's enjoy it being after hours. Let's enjoy not having to worry about what the hell Spy is doing, all that fun stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about today is a kind of controversial topic, which you guys will see this all over Reddit, all over Twitter, all over the internet, and you'll hear a lot of varying opinions, and that is, what's the truth of technical analysis? Is technical analysis complete bullshit? Is technical analysis about as legitimate as astrology? Or is technical analysis something that is founded in legitimate success? I think you guys kind of know my opinion. It's not like I think technical analysis is some voodoo witchcraft that, it tells you everything and you can predict every single move of every single stock. I don't think that at all. But I do think what technical analysis does for us is it gives us the trail of smart money, because a lot of these patterns that we see developing over time, a lot of these stock chart patterns we see are footprints of smart money, are footprints of Wall Street. And I think when you start to think of it from that perspective, TA makes a lot of sense. So we'll see things like, I don't know, a double bottom. And there could be a lot of reasons behind why that double bottom formed, but one of the big ones could possibly be there is a large money player sitting at that exact price looking to buy up shares when it touches that. Let's just say Buffett, for example. Let's just go out on a limb and say old Warren is doing his thing. And what that means is he's sitting there waiting for that price, waiting for whatever it is. Let's make up a random stock. XYZ is sitting at $50 right now. Old Warren wants it at 40. Old Warren wants it at 30. Those levels are going to be places that he ends up putting his orders in with crazy amounts of money. And if we see it bounce there once, you see it come back down, you see it bounce off there again, you're wondering, wonder why it bounced off there twice. A possible reason behind that could be that there's someone with smart money sitting there buying it whenever it hits that exact price. So like I said, when you think of TA as the footprint of smart money and kind of giving us a trail, it makes a lot more sense. But I do want to kind of stress to you guys, I don't think that technical analysis is the end-all, be-all, best possible thing, gonna make you a millionaire by itself. I don't think any of those things. I think you have to have an understanding of technical analysis. I think you have to have an understanding of the overall market, how it works. I think you need to have a little bit of fundamentals in there as well. There are tons of things that you need to have, and it's not just all technical analysis. The one thing I do want to kind of stress to you guys here is that technical analysis can tell you guys a lot of basic things. And we're going to get a little deeper into this later in this video. This is going to be 90 minutes, so I've got a lot of time to just yap up a storm. And you guys have a lot of time to, kind of just take it in. And then if you don't get it all, come back, watch it, rewatch it. But yeah, what I want to get into right now is the basic things that TA can tell us. And I'm not really talking about, if a stock is going to move to the upside, if a stock is going to move to the downside. Those are awesome things to know if we can, if we can get them, that'd be awesome. But it tells us even more basic things. Even smaller things like what price a buyer is willing to buy at. What price the amount of buyers overshadows the amount of sellers. That is important information. It seems basic, and it is very basic, but that is such important information. In the history of this stock, what price were the buyers able to overwhelm the sellers? All that is a support level, guys. But when you look at it from that perspective, it makes a lot more deep kind of connections in your brain when you also add in the footprint of smart money. So what price do sellers overwhelm buyers historically, which would be a resistance? What does that mean? Does that mean that people aren't comfortable with the stock above that price? Does that mean that people just don't like the stock at this time of year when we keep seeing these rejections? What does that mean? How aggressive was the move down? Could it have been that one large money seller that we were talking about? Could it have been that one large money buyer that we were talking about that keeps his orders in at $50 a share and we just see it keep bouncing off of that year after year? Or could it be something deeper? And the other thing TA tells us is, are traders interested in the price now? Right this second? Are we seeing tons of volume coming in? Are we seeing a lot of active traders touching this stock? And that's important too. We don't want to be trading things that there's not a lot of action and interest in. We want to be trading things with high volume, things that at the current price, there's a lot of buyers, there's a lot of sellers. It's going to give us the most information possible. I want to kind of circle back here. So we started this with, do I think TA is legitimate or do I think TA is a load of shit? And simple answer, I think it's more legitimate than it's bullshit. Do I think there are some bullshit aspects? 100%. 100%, guys. I think there's a lot of bullshit out there. I don't think certain stock patterns work at fucking all. For me, I don't think certain stock patterns really have much basis. I think there's a lot of them out there that you'd be better off just tossing in the trash and never even touching. But I think there's a lot of TA that can really, really help all traders. Again, it's kind of one of those things. You have to have TA, you have to have fundamentals, you have to have other market understanding outside of just those things. But for most traders, TA is going to be beneficial. Just looking at, any chart that I can pull up. Let's just pull up. Well, let's do NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a better one. Let's pull up NVIDIA. This is the 5-minute. Let's go to the daily here. And I'm just going to walk you guys through kind of what I was talking about. NVIDIA has this multiple topping area right here. It happened right about 150 all the way to about 155. What does this tell us, guys? What does this topping area give us from a footprint of smart money perspective? Once it reaches $150, people with the power to move the market are selling their shares. Do we want to be buyers near that level? No. This is basic information. This is the most basic level humanly possible. When people with billions of dollars are selling their shares, do we want to be buying shares against them? The answer is no. You're likely to get your absolute ass kicked if you're buying the shares that those billionaires are selling to you when price is all the way at the top or near the top or after a long rally, anything like that. We also got to look at how aggressive these moves are. Someone offloaded. Could it have been multiple groups? Could it have been a few select groups? Could have been either. We'll probably never know that exact information. But on this day right here, someone offloaded a fuck ton of shares. This thing opened at 153, dropped all the way to $140 in one day. TA tells us things. The way that this candle ends up closing, the way that we're seeing this topping action in this area, it tells us things. I don't think that TA is completely without value. Do I think some traders overvalue it? Of course. I'm not sure if you guys just heard that, but my cat is back. I think he just knocked off a coffee mug or something. I'll have to deal with that later. But what I was saying, TA has value. It tells us where people are selling, where people are buying, how many people are interested in the price, all of those things. And I think that that is valuable information. And I encourage all of you guys moving forward to kind of challenge yourselves with your TA thought process. Think of it from a footprint of smart money. Think of it from a what trail are they leaving me here with this chart? What are they telling me? What can I tell about what's happening behind the scenes using what I know with TA, using what I know from stock patterns, using what I know from volume price analysis? What can I see that's happening behind the scenes? All right, guys, we are going to pivot a little bit here. I hope that was a useful kind of opinion about technical analysis. I know we have a lot of different traders in here. We have fundamental traders, we have technical traders, we have everything in between. We got options traders, futures traders. I do want to just give a warm welcome to everyone I see in the chat here. I see CJ Dubs, I see Sam, I see Ben, I see RMB, I see Dog Crypto, I see Lindsay, I see William, I see JB. Hell yeah, everybody. Thank you for being here. While you're here, make sure that you drop a like, drop a little thumbs up on this stream so that we can get a little boost on the algorithm and keep these things going, keep the ball rolling here. The one thing I want to pivot to over here, I see Jules in the chat now. What up, Jules? I want to talk a little bit about just compounding. So people will say, I only want to be a day trader. I'm going to, put all of my money into day trading. I recommend against that. I think that's a stupid move. I think a much better move is to make sure that you have investments as well and then funnel short-term gains into long-term accounts. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I will continue doing. And I think it's something that is kind of underrated because it's not as fast, it's not as flashy, it's not as, immediate gains. It's not one day I'm up 50% on my account. But guys, investments over time are going to change everything for you. It can change everything for you. It can change everything for your family. If you're young, your future family. If you're older, your grandkids, kids, your great-grandkids. It can change everything for generations to come. And I want to do a little math, a little bit of a, how much can it change things? And so let's start with, say you are 25. I don't know what our average age group is. We'll kind of do a few of them. You're 25 and you have $5,000 that you want to put into the market, say invest. And moving forward, you don't have a very well-paying job. You're not making a ton from day trading or anything like that. You're still trying to figure that out. But you think you can spare like $100 a month. You think you can spare $100 a month. And you're 25 and you're looking to get this money out when you're like 60, 65. So you're looking at 35 to 40 years. 40 years. And we're just going to put this all into the market average, which is 10.4%. Oops. 10.4%. So you're just in the market. You're not doing anything crazy here. You're not beating the market. You're just in the market. Annually, we're going to compound that so that your gains are 10.4% per year. So you're going to be adding monthly that $100 starting with $5,000. Let's calculate how much you're going to have by the time you are 60 to 65. $853,000 fucking dollars. $853,000 fucking dollars, guys. Do not underestimate the power of investing and compounding. Let's say you figure out a way to beat the market consistently. You can get 15% a year. A lot of people do that. A lot of people investing can get 15% a year. Calculate that. Look how much that impacts that number, guys. Let's say you can't even beat the market that much. 12%. Look how much money you have there, guys. But I think we're back up now. I apologize for that. I don't know if that was my internet. I don't know if that was the thing I'm using to do this. Let me send out a little tweet real quick just to make sure that just to make sure that everybody, I think we're back. I'm gonna send this out again though, just to. Okay, I apologize, guys, but I do think we're back here. All right, where were we? So we were saying you have 10 grand to spare right now, and then you have 500 a month from trading. So maybe you're making a little bit of money day trading here. 500 a month, 25 years. You're beating the market a little bit. Again, over $1 million. Maybe you have $0 to spare, but you're making okay money day trading, and you're making about $1,000 a month that you can add into an account. Just going to go with the market here. 10.4. So this is no money right now, but you're making $1,000 a month from day trading. Where are we going to be? Over $1 million in 25 years. Over $1 million in 25 years. I just want to completely state this so clearly to you guys. If you are day trading, if you are trading options, if you are scalping, if you are swing trading, you need to be making longer term plans as well. You need to be making longer term plans as well. You can see how much they add up here. You can see how much they add up. God forbid you have a decent chunk of money you're sitting on. Maybe you have $50,000 you're sitting on, and maybe you can put 200 in a month. 25 years at the market average, almost $1 million. It's just insane, the power of compounding, the power of the investment market. And if you can be one of the people who can net like 20% a year, you don't need any fucking money to have this compound. Start with 1,000, 200 a month, 25 years. You can net 20% a year, over $1 million still. It's crazy, guys. I don't want to stretch this out any longer. I know I've talked about this a lot, but I just wanted to come on here, show you guys some different scenarios, some different timelines. Actually, let's do one more. Let's do a shorter term timeline. 10 years. You're going to start with, let's start with that 5K number. You have 5K to throw around. You can put $300 into this a month. 10 years, 20% a year. Your 5 grand can turn into $124,000. $124,000 in 10 years. What if you're just hitting the market? What is that 5,000 going to turn into? $71,000. $71,000. You're not even beating the market. You're just contributing monthly. You're just contributing monthly and putting it all in the market. So this is, if you go to investor.gov, this is the compound interest calculator. But let's say, guys, you have $5,000. You're adding your $300 a month, but you're doing well. Like, say you're netting like 25. Oh, no, that's years. Sorry, 10 years. You're hitting like 25% a year on that. You're doing some swing trading in there. 166. You start doing well, you got to put a little more in a month. You're still netting it. What are we doing now? 250. 250. So, guys, all I got to say is make sure you're putting some of that short-term money to use long-term. Just a quick overview. What I do is all of the money that I make from trading futures and options, a portion of it goes to paying me, pay my bills, pay my groceries, all that fun stuff. The rest of it, or a large portion of that, goes to my long-term and my swing account. Most of it into the long-term. Because you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to fucking retire. I'm trying to get my ass off of the computer. I'm trying to live off of the dividends, live off of the compound interest that I'm going to continue to get just by being in the market. Just by being in the market, guys. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I just wanted to make sure that you kind of knew where I stand from a long-term investing account and what you guys should be doing. Let's get back to the charts here. One other thing, I'm going to answer some questions in the chat, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about a a principle that I think isn't talked about enough from a technical, shorter term trading perspective. But first, I see Eric asked me, are you a full-time trader? Yes, I am a full-time trader. I've been a full-time trader for years now. Before I was a full-time trader, I was a student, and then I worked at a warehouse, and then I quit the warehouse job when I wanted to make the leap. I talked about this a little bit, I think it was last week, when I wanted to make that leap, and since then it's been good for me. It hasn't been completely smooth sailing. I've had a couple rough months here or there, a couple rough weeks that wipe away some gains and stuff, but for the most part, I've been profitable enough to live on. I've been profitable enough to give myself a life and give my family a life that I'm really, really proud of. And now I'm here trying to get you guys the same place, get you guys the same things, a little bit of financial freedom. I don't know what else to say other than it is true freedom from everything that was kind of dragging me down. Everything I felt like I didn't like having a boss. I was not good with having a boss. I was not good with working consistently. I just wasn't very good at that life. And this has basically been a complete light under my ass, changed who I was, and it's been nothing short of incredible and worth every single market tuition moment, every single obstacle. So in short, yeah, I'm a full-time trader, and I love it. When you have a confident trade, how many contracts do you buy on calls or puts? I don't trade options all that often. I'm more of a futures trader, and I'll day trade some SPY options here or there, but I'm not really a huge options swinger or a huge options trader in general. A lot of times I'll do more common trades with more size than I will options trades. Okay, guys, the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about when it comes to short-term trading, and then we will pivot into some of those charts, market analysis, because this is a crazy market, guys. This is an insane market. We're getting a kind of a pullback, and it's been aggressive pullback, and it's not typical that we see these happen as fast as this is happening. So we're gonna talk about those charts here later, but first, I do want to talk to you guys about something I've noticed when I work with beginner traders, because I do talk to a lot of beginner traders on a daily basis, and I trade with a lot of them. And one thing I've seen is a lot of them will take every single trading opportunity that they notice. And just think about that a minute. Think about if you were to take every single trading opportunity. You see every single setup that you say, that's a good setup. You take every single one. You bite on every single one. You enter on every single one. There's going to be some fake ones in there. There's going to be some nasty ones in there, guys. And what I've seen contrary to that is the best traders do not take every single trade opportunity. They have a very, very detailed list in their brain or list on their computer, whatever it is, of what qualifies a setup as the top tier, as this is the best setup. These are the opportunities I'm going to take. And the mediocre traders, they might have an idea. They might know, I like these setups, I like trading this time of day, but they don't have as detailed criteria to actually enter a trade. They're taking more trades. And this is where it relates to that over trading that you see pretty oftenly talked about. You'll hear, don't over trade, blah, 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 blah. But I think this is more the reasoning behind why over trading is so hurtful for your trading account. And one thing I think about a lot is market makers and Wall Street and the people who are moving this market. I kind of like to think of them as the fishermen, and we are the fish. You'll hear a lot that retail is, the small fish in the pond, and the market makers, everyone else, Wall Street is like bigger fish or a whale trying to eat you. I like to think of it more as they're the fishermen, we're the fish. Because where do they make a lot of their money from? They make a lot of their money from us. They make a lot of their money from tricking us. And if the market is the fisherman and we're the fish, what's the biggest thing that we need to fucking avoid, guys? hooks. We need to avoid biting their freaking hooks. What's an example of biting their hook? Getting your stop loss rated in a stupid trade. Buying a breakout that ends up being a false breakout. Those are biting the hooks. And I want to kind of zero in on that, buying a fake breakout, because I think that's a really, really good example of, this entire thing I'm talking about. And what I mean by that is, if you're a top level trader, you know what the right breakouts to buy look like. If you're a mediocre trader, you kind of know what a bad breakout looks like. You kind of know what a great breakout looks like. And if you're an average trader, you're just seeing breakout and thinking, whoa, price is moving up, baby. We are breaking out. I got to get in on this. And those are the people that get caught. Those are the dumb fish that you catch 15 times. You throw it back. You throw the same lure over there. Woo! Caught him again. Damn, this guy's got like 19 hooks in him. That's what we need to avoid being. We need to avoid being the fish that bites the shit out of the same exact looking worm, wrapped around the same exact looking hook, cast it in the same exact hole 100 times. We can't do that. We're not going to survive that. Average traders, beginner traders are not going to survive that. So, you guys need to start to figure out what your best setups are and have a very, very detailed set of criteria. And you need to pass on anything that doesn't meet all of that or most of that. There's going to be some game time decisions. Like for me personally, with being a very, very volume, I can tell you exactly what I need to see on a breakout. I can do it right now. I'll rattle it off right now. I need to see high volume on the test of the support or resistance level. Let's just, for the sake of it being easy, let's just talk about a resistance level. If we're talking about a resistance breakout, I need to see high volume into that resistance. Before we even test that resistance, I need to see high volume indicating buyers. What do I need to see through that resistance? I need to see buyers continuing to step up. I need to see them continuing to buy through that resistance. And then above that resistance, I do not want to see any aggressive step in from the bears or sellers. We can have a pullback. We can have a sideways consolidation period. I just cannot see an aggressive red candle, aggressive selling, anything that indicates that there was a ton of people selling the price. Great example of that is right here. Anything like this on this NVIDIA chart, I'm not buying that breakout. Anything like this here, I'm not buying that breakout. What I do want to see would be high volume, sustained volume, showing me that buyers are continuing to push price up before and after the exact break of that resistance. And if I don't see all those things, I'm not buying a breakout. And that's just one example. I know most of the setups that I'm going to trade, I have a similar kind of like where I can just rattle off what I need. And that's what you guys need to build over time. And what that's going to come from is, number one, biting the hook a bunch of times. Like, there's no way to avoid it. You're going to bite that hook. The fisherman is going to catch you. You're going to look him in the eyes and be fucking terrified. Oh, you're going to be terrified. You're going to be like, what the hell did I just do? Man, I'm losing money, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to have to go back, reflect on it, be like, what did that hook look like? What did the bait on that thing look like? Oh my God, like what did I just bite? And then you're going to realize, okay, you're going to start to be able to see the fake lures a lot easier. You're going to start to look at it and be like, damn, that looks nothing like the fish I'm eating around here all the time. That looks nothing like the little minnows I've been snacking on this afternoon. What was I thinking? And then it's going to become very, very clear what the best setups are, what the worst setups are, what the mediocre setups are, and you need to do your best to only take the top tier. All right, guys, while you're here, throw a like on this. Ranted a little bit there. You guys know how I get at this point. This is the third buy high, sell low. You guys know that I'm ranting in here. I'm talking about stuff, but I just do think it's really, really important for people to know that there's gonna be a lot of fake stuff. There's gonna be a lot of just absolute bullshit thrown at you by the market. And this is another thing to talk about. Sorry, I kind of talked like the rant was going to be over. The rant is continuing, guys. We're not done yet. I just thought of something else. There's a lot of what's the best way of putting this? What's the easiest? Okay, all right. I know how to throw this at you guys. Imagine you're the fish. You're the fish chilling on the bottom. You're just like, wiggling around, feeling great. Woo! And all of a sudden this worm drops in the water in front of you. And you're like kind of suspicious. You're looking around, fucking, woo. Where did that come from? Looking up, where's that worm coming from? And then all of a sudden you eat it. Great worm, tasted great. You don't get jerked out of the water. You don't get yanked out of the water. You just ate that worm. Tasted great. Next day, same time, same place, another worm comes down. Whoa, what the heck? Eat that worm. That worm tastes great. For the next week, worm comes down every single day, same time. You're looking up, you can't find anything. Eventually, you stop looking up, you stop looking around. And you just know, oh, I'm going to eat my worm today. At that time, I'm going to eat that worm. I'm going to go get that worm. I'm going to eat it. It's going to come out of nowhere. God dropped that worm for me. God is feeding me every day. Woo! The happiest fish in the pond. One day, you eat your worm. Boom! You're out of the water. Boom! You're face to face with that fisherman. You're face to face. You don't know if you're about to get fried up on a grill. You don't know if you're about to get battered and put in some kid's little mouth. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're about to become a fish stick for little Jimmy. You don't know if you're about to be, served at a fish fry. You don't know what is going on. You know why that happened? Because you got complacent and you didn't analyze the worm any longer. Are you guys tying this back to stocks? I know it's kind of a little crazy, but you guys tying this back to stocks? You have to keep analyzing the setups as they come. You can't get complacent with, I've traded 10 breakouts in a row. They've all worked. I'm not going to check the volume tomorrow. I'm not going to look at the volume. I've gotten used to the worm. I'm not even going to look around. I'm just going to bite the worm when I see it. No, you have to look at the volume. You have to look at the setup as a whole, and you have to make sure that it meets all of your criteria. That's the whole point of that little story. And it needs to happen for every single setup you take. You cannot get, oh, these double bottoms have been working so well, I'm going to trade this shittier double bottom because they've just been working so well. No, the double bottom has to fit your criteria. It has to line up with what you need from it to be a top tier setup. Or else you're going to get tricked. You're going to get yanked out of the water. You're going to end up in a cooler somewhere. And you're going to end up turning into a little fish stick getting dipped in ketchup. And that's not what you want to be. Who wants to be a fish stick getting dipped in ketchup? Not me. Not you. No one in here. You guys are here because you want to avoid being a fish stick. So don't be a fish stick. Don't be stupid. Don't be dumb. Analyze your setups. Don't get complacent. And make sure that you have sets of criteria. And shameless plug here, guys. One way that you can, learn how to analyze setups correctly is with volume. And I'm going to be doing volume camp. There was a little bit of doubt the last few days of if enough people wanted volume camp. And there were some people, I sent out like a, hey, like this if you want to, and it didn't get as many likes as normal. So I was like, I don't know if I'll do volume camp. And then you guys, probably some of you in here, I got probably 50 to 60 DMs of people saying, please do volume camp. I want to learn volume from you. I think volume is the next step that I need for my trading. So I'm going ahead. I'm plowing through with volume. We're doing volume camp. I'm sticking to my guns. I thought volume would be a great camp to do. I am sticking with volume camp. So later this month, keep your eye out. I'll be posting some stuff. I'll be posting how to sign up. I'll be posting more details about volume camp. And that's going to be, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about how to validate setups with volume. How to look at volume and say, okay, this setup is strong. This setup is not strong. How to rank setups based on volume. So that's going to be something that if you're interested in that, it'll be taking place in my Discord. It's going to be like $20 for a full week. Each day there will be like a 90-minute class all focused on volume. I try not to rant as much in those. It's more so focusing on the educational side of things, focusing on the actual information. So they're not as fun as these maybe, but I try to keep them fun while also being educational. So Volume Camp, keep your eye out for it. I hope to see a lot of you guys in there. I hope to see some familiar names in there. But yeah, and it'll be recorded for the people who cannot make it live. So if you have a job, I think they're going to be around this time at night, maybe like an hour earlier or something like that. But if you can't make it at that time, they will be recorded, and you guys will have access to the recordings for a certain amount of months afterwards. I did a camp in like October, and those recordings are still up. So it's a long time. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. All it depends on is that people don't like share them outside of the Discord. If they do that, then I have to close out the link. So if no one shares them, they stay up indefinitely. So, all right. That is Volume Camp. I'm going to send out a little tweet here, and then we will get rocking on some charts. I'm going to send out a tweet that tells people I'm about to do my SPY analysis. So if anyone is slacking, if anyone is not here, then maybe they'll hop in. So bear with me for a second, and then we'll get cracking again. While we're at it, guys, does anyone have any questions? Does anybody have, any stocks that they want me to talk about later? Does anybody have any questions about Volume Camp? Does anyone have any questions about being a fish in the pond? Anyone having a, I just read a comment. I'm in here because you tweeted, get your ass in here. That's right. I was aggressive with you guys. I put a firm hand down. I said, get your asses in here because you don't want to be missing me talking about you guys being a fish. What's better? How are you going to become a better trader without hearing me talk about you guys being a fish, right? You guys being a fish biting a hook. It's the best way to learn. All right. We got a question, where's the Discord? So if you guys go to my Twitter, you guys can go into my profile. There's a link tree there. And then the link, I believe, is called Access to Trading Community. And you guys click that, and then it'll show you how to sign up for the Discord. It's a little place. It's mostly focused on education. A lot of good people there. A lot of traders who are trying to become profitable, trying to quit their job, trying to, find financial freedom themselves. And it's not really as much similar to other Discords where it's like, I'm buying this at this. And then everyone's like, let's go that stock, let's go that stock. Everyone buys it, blah, blah. It's not as much of that. It's more so, hey, what are you guys thinking of SPY today? What are you guys seeing on this chart? What are you guys doing with this chart? Are you guys buying, calls? Are you guys trading futures on this? It's more so that. It's more of collaboration than, call outs, alerts, that sort of thing. Okay, is SPY the best trade for beginners? I think SPY is a good vehicle to learn. I don't think it needs to be, your only focus as a beginner. I think there's a lot of things. It depends what you trade as well. If you're looking to trade like commons on something, we can find you something much cheaper, something like a Ford, something like a, what else do we got? Something, I'm trying to think of other names. I used to have a list, but then they got too expensive. Like PLTR was on my list for beginners to day trade to learn price action. I think the biggest thing when you're a beginner is just to focus on the price action. Focus on how things move, focus on why things move, and I think it's less about how you're trading it, just learning about the moves. And if that's with something cheaper, that's what it is. If it's with SPY trading options, that is what it is. I've been using your Thick Zones 2.0 on TradingView. Dude, what do you think? What do you think? I've been rocking the 2.0 as well, and I love them. My boy Biff made them for us. They're awesome. They're fantastic. Yeah, Jewel says I don't always ramble about fish. No, I don't. We do talk about mayonnaise on occasion. We do talk about If mayonnaise is something that you should be, using on your sandwiches, that comes up way more than it should. I don't know why, but mayonnaise gets talked about once a week. What's the name of your indicator? It is called Thick Zones. And if you go to the link tree in my Twitter bio as well, it is in there too. You can get Thick Zones 2.0. All you got to do is go to ThiccTeddy on Twitter, click my profile, link tree, and then there should be Thick Zones 2.0. You click that, and it should give you access to it. All right. Let's talk some charts, guys. Let's get cracking here on some charts. We're going to start with SPY, obviously, which is the big one. I know we got some more people in here because I tweeted about I'm about to talk about SPY. This is a crazy chart. This is a chart that's been full of selling. This is a chart that's been pretty. I just saw something. I just found it on TradingView. Yeah, so 1.0 is public on TradingView. 2.0, you got to go to my the link in my profile. So into that link tree that I just mentioned and click the 2.0. I might make 2.0 public eventually. I don't know why I haven't done that. But right now, 2.0 is private. 1.0 is public. So if you want 2.0, head over to the link tree. Okay, so SPY. Back to SPY. The selling has been crazy. The volume has been absolutely nuts. You can see already on this chart there's been a ton of volume. We were kind of sitting relative down here. Look, you can scroll out even more. Relative out here, some of the spikes we're getting up here. But the last few weeks, the last month, it's all been higher than what we were seeing before from a relative volume perspective. So the sell-off has been crazy. What do I personally think? I talked last week. I planted my stake. I am sticking to my guns. 550 is the buy spot for me. 550 is the buy spot. I'm still sticking with it, guys. I am 100% sticking to my guns with that 550 analysis. Last week I said 550 was 10% from highs. I think that's the place to be a buyer. 580, I think it's like 581 or 582, is 5% from highs. And I'll just be 100% candid with you guys. I had a pile of cash sitting. I had a pile of cash that was sitting not in a trading account. It was a large pile of cash. I transferred it yesterday to my long-term account and began buying yesterday. So take that for what you will. Price was right around 560, below 560. I was buying. I am a buyer at this price. I have a few pieces of evidence that in my brain, work out. Number one being when the market does dip, it does kind of bottom between 5 and 10% historically. Number two, this has been partially manufactured by President Trump. All of the uncertainty from tariffs. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he knows exactly how to fix what he's doing. I've also, number three, seen the panic reach the common population, the public, in the last few days. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with that, but when we start to see news stations inducing fear-mongering, whatever you want to call it, a lot of times that's when the move stops. I was getting questions about buying NVIDIA last year. NVIDIA topped last year. We haven't seen highs again. Now, I've gotten two different calls, both from people who know that I'm involved with the stock market, who aren't very involved with the stock market themselves. Both of them were talking about how they're going to call their financial people and tell them to liquidate or begin selling this week because they think it's about to get a lot worse based on what? All they've seen on the news, all they've heard through the grapevine from so and so and so. I think we're reaching a panicky moment. I think we're reaching a buy moment. I think we're getting down to that 10% from highs. So like I said, I'm sticking to my guns. I don't just say shit just to say shit, guys. I had cash. I deposited it yesterday. It's live. I started buying, and I'm going to continue buying. If it goes below 550, I'm not gonna buy it all at 550, guys. I'm not gonna completely just exhaust all of my cash at 550. I'll leave some to buy down to, 530, something like that, 530 to 520 in that area. But I have begun to deploy that cash. I do think we're going to find a bottom. I think there's going to be a lot of people selling to us, and I think there's going to be a lot of people selling to the smart money, which we talked about earlier in this stream, how smart money leaves footprints. Smart money throws hooks out there, guys. The fish analogy is coming back. Smart money throws hooks out there, and when they catch you, your money is transferred to them. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. People are going to be selling. They're going to be buying. And I've also seen some headlines recently of Wall Street is selling at a crazy pace right now. Wall Street is selling at the craziest pace we've ever seen right now. I'm doing air quotes because who's fucking spouting that? People who are owned by Wall Street. Why would Wall Street be showing their cards like that? Think that one through. Why would Wall Street be showing their cards like that? To make other people sell. Why would they want other people to sell? Think that one through. Why would they want other people to sell? So they can scoop their shares. That's just my 2 cents, guys. I've lived through multiple bear markets. I've lived through multiple not multiple crashes. I guess just the one considered a crash, but multiple bear markets, the COVID crash, dips in the market. I'm not seeing this as something that I think is going to accelerate much further. Like I said, added money, 550 is the spot for me. I have cash. I will deploy it if we get below 550. I'm not just going to buy it all at 550. I do want to continue trucking along, but summary, TLDR here, bullish near 550, reasoning being it's 10% from highs, and there's also been a lot of public panic and a lot of talking from Wall Street saying, we're selling blah, 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 blah. Getting to the news, and I think that's usually a good indication that price is not going to drop any further. They're starting to scoop shares. I see someone asked you're long SPY on what timeline? I'm long SPY on literally just my long-term account. I will be riding that for years. I'm just buying all of my investments. I'm buying pretty much everything that I've been invested in. Some of them I'm averaging up on even, like Tesla. I had a much lower average because I got in at a great time. I'm averaging up on Tesla because I think that this is a market bottom, and Tesla I think is going to go higher as well. So I'm just buying long term. Okay, let's go to the other names, starting with Tesla, which I bought Tesla back when it was like $150 something per share. So I bought Tesla back here, and I just started adding, like I said, yesterday. So 220. So averaging up from about 150 into those 220s, adding shares up there. The reason that I'm comfortable adding Tesla is, again, I do think it's one of those market panic moments. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the overall sentiment on Tesla, but people think that Tesla is going to be bankrupt. Genuinely, people think that Tesla is going bankrupt this year, next year. The media, if you saw what they were saying, you would think that Tesla is, going to be underwater by 2027. That's just not the case, guys. Tesla's not going to stop selling vehicles. Tesla's probably not going to have as many bumps as people think. Tesla makes a lot of money outside of just their electric vehicles. But from a technical perspective, let's just talk about from a technical perspective. What are we seeing here? We're seeing, this crazy decline. I do want to get to the weekly chart. We're seeing this crazy decline. But what are we seeing from a weekly candle here? We're seeing the highest volume. We have 2 more days of the week. We're already near the highest volume here we've seen in a year, 2 years. By the end of the week, we could be up here, which would be the highest since 2023. Hammer candle right now. It's down, 430 all the way to 215, 214 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And what do we have down here, guys? Tons of support. One support level. We can just draw them all in here if we'd like. One support level. Second support level. Third support level. Tons of support down here. So for me, Tesla is a no-brainer add, especially with the fact that I think the market is going to turn around. I do think Tesla is going to turn around as well. Again, I'm not deploying all of my cash up front. I'm not adding it all right now. I'm not buying the entirety of what I want to add in Tesla right now. I'm doing it slowly. So if it goes lower, if it wants to go to 200, if it wants to go to 180, I'm going to be smart about that. Yesterday, I think I added in the 220s. Yesterday is where I added on Tesla. But I'm still bullish on Tesla. Let's talk. I do want to talk daily, though. I know we have some people who are shorter-term traders. I know we have some people who are probably going to look to possibly trade like some options of some degree, or maybe some shorter-term, maybe some, what are those called? Let me get this EMA up here. No, I want normal EMA, sorry. I'm trying to think of something that I can't think of right now. My brain is just completely farting on it. I want to get a 20 MA here. What are those? Leveraged. Yeah. What I was trying to say is I know that there's some people who are trading, options, and there's also going to be some people who are trading like leveraged Tesla ETFs and stuff like that, because some of those big names do have those leveraged ETFs. So there's going to be people trying to trade these from a shorter term perspective. So I do want to give you like a daily outlook as well. And here on the daily, the one thing I do want to kind of point out is this 20 MA. So in the past, we've seen this 20 MA hold pretty well. We saw it get flipped in 2024, and then it held all the way up to the top after the election. And then we flipped it again, but this time to the downside. So we flipped it here, bearish. We held it here, bearish, held it here, bearish. And I think that's going to be the key spot here on Tesla. Right now, it's sitting about $300, but as price comes down, and the 200 MA, 20 MA comes down as well, I think it's probably going to end up somewhere in this 280 to 285 area. And when we get up into that, so when we test that, if it's this week, if it's next week, that's going to be the spot to watch. And for me, it would be a situation where if it rejects and you stay below, could be a put situation. If you're able to break above it, it would be a call situation. So the 20 MA on this Tesla daily, that's going to be my line in the sand. So we get up to it, hold below, I would be looking at those shorts, puts, whatever you want to do. And if you get above, looking at those calls, leverage, Tesla ETFs to the upside, that's what I'd be looking at. All right, let's move to NVIDIA here. I've been pretty vocal on social media about what I think about this NVIDIA daily and how I think we need to touch $100. I want to get this trend line in on the upside. Boom. And we got down to 104 yesterday. So it puts me in a weird position where we got really close to my target to flip into a long on this, but we didn't quite refresh it completely. And the reason I wanted it to get to 100 exactly is because of how much we had from the past in this area. Let me get a little zone drawn here. You can see these peaks here. These peaks all the way up to this little valley here that sits right about 100 even, maybe at like 101. Let's see exactly where it's at. Yeah, it's exactly at 101. This is the reason that I wanted to see 100 exactly. And right now, we bounced off of 104, like I said. So it's one of those weird situations where I have to make a judgment call of, is this low enough for me, or do I want it to actually refresh my zone? And I decided as I was looking at this earlier that I do want it to actually refresh my zone. So it's at 115 now. I'd like to see $100. I'd like to see it refresh 100 exactly before I flip long on this. It doesn't need to be to the cent 100 and then bounce. It could go down to 98, could go down to 97, but I need to see 100 or lower before I flip bullish on NVIDIA. And the reason being, there's just so many bearish things up here at 150. I want to make sure that it gets the full pullback that it needs. The first bearish thing we saw was that rejection that we talked about earlier, where you had 1, 2, and then 3 aggressive rejections. The second bearish setup was this upper trend line, where you got these lower highs And the reaction to the trend line, aggressive, 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 lower highs, lower lows, and then we were unable to get above that trend line. We weren't able to break it. We held it. The market is dying along with it. I think we need a full refresh of $100 on Nvidia. Honestly, I wouldn't mind like 95. We get 95, I'm gonna be throwing my credit card up on the counter saying buy some more, please. So for me, Nvidia here is still a little bit bearish. I would like to see it get down to 100. What that means for the market, could we possibly see below 550 if Nvidia needs to refresh 100? We could. Could that potentially jeopardize my 550 buying strategy? Maybe, but I don't think 100 is deep enough on Nvidia to make us drop below 530, drop below 520. I'm just not seeing that. All right, last one I want to talk about here before I get to some individual names is Apple. And Apple has a pretty important line in the sand that it lost. So Apple here had a kind of key level that it's bounced around on multiple times. And that key level is about 220. You can see it was resistance in June of 2024. It acted as support in September of 2024, support as in November of 2024, and then support in January of 2025. So multiple different times we've used this 220 level as a key support, and we just lost it today. Yesterday and the day before, we had high selling volume. So I want to zoom in here for you guys. You can see the relative volume is down here a little bit lower. And then the last 3 days, we've had higher than average volume. And they've been 3 very bearish candles. We broke that 220. And now I'm looking at, let me get this line in here. Now I'm looking at these highs turned into this low, which sits right about $200. So I think 10% more on Apple is where I'm going to be looking at. I do think that this one could have a larger impact on SPY. Nvidia, it's not that deep of a dip. So Apple is going to be one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, because if we do refresh 200, then we could potentially see below 550 on SPY. It's going to take a few of them lining up. We're going to need a few bearish big names to get below 550 on SPY. But I do think if Apple yanks it down, if Nvidia yanks it down, and then we get something like Microsoft or Tesla to even go lower, then we would be looking at below 550. So overall, I'm still a buyer at 550 on SPY. I'm a buyer at 550 and below. But I do want to keep an eye on these big tech names, because there are some bearish theses that are lining up. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing all my due diligence. All right. I'm not sure if you guys remember, this is our first little victory lap from the buy high, sell low gang. So on the first week of buy high, sell low, I gave you guys Reddit. I said I really like this Reddit chart. Number one, because it had this key level in this area. And number two, because it's been such a volatile name lately. I wanted to, if this, held, buy calls. If it broke, buy puts. Did I get around to buying puts? No. But some people did, and they made a shitload of money. The reason being, when we broke with decent volume. And then we ended up selling off from 160 down to 110 in 3 days. So just a little shout there. Reddit was one of my individual names I gave a couple weeks ago, and it worked out really well. So if you guys are looking for that history of how have these names that Teddy's been bringing up on buy high, sell low doing, here's one of them. All right, I do have 3 for you guys this week. I have 3 names that I'm watching closely. The first one is going to be a company that I think is a good company that is potentially just too low right now for its fundamentals, and I do think it has a chance at a very strong rebound for the rest of maybe 2025, and that is FSLR. So this is First Solar. It's one of the biggest solar power companies in the world, And it's been declining since 2024, mid 2024. This is May, June, July area. This thing was up here near $300. And since then, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, all that sort of stuff. What are we doing right now, though? What's making me think that this could possibly be a bottoming area? It's very, very simple. This low right here, paired with this being a pivot area back in 2022. Also, we have this high right here. We have this low right here. We have this high all the way back here. So from current price, this low, which happened about 125, all the way down to about 113, so about 10%, we get a zone drawn. We have a ton of support and resistance in this area. In this zone, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now a possible fifth. And this is like an industry leader, guys. FSLR is a massive company. They make a shitload of money. They make a shitload of sales. They do well. Industry leader on such a key level here. I have to just be bullish on this. I have to be long on FSLR. It's a no-brainer. It's one of those setups that I've seen work out hundreds of times over my years. So FSLR, I think this is a good buy here. If you're a swing trader, I think this is a good buy. If you're an investor, I think this is a good buy. If you're more short-term than, maybe a month, 2 months, couple months of swing trading, if you're thinking weeks, I wouldn't touch this for weeks. Once we get into the months, I like FSLR, just for a timeline perspective. The second one is Rivian. And I like this for a similar reason to FSLR. I do think that this is at a pretty decent discount. It's coming down into these previous support and resistance areas from 2024 and then earlier in 2024. But the other reason I really like FSLR that I think could cause a move sooner than later is the lower trend line that we're potentially respecting. Well, we've got to come a little bit lower, but I do want to zoom in on this. So back in 2024, April, we bottomed about $8.50. And then in November of 2024, we bottomed about $9.60. Popped up, came back down, tested $9.60 again, and popped up. So technically, we have 3 touches of this trend line. That means the trend line is fully formed from my perspective, because one of the big things for me in trend lines is you need to have 3 taps on each trend line before it's considered 100%, fully formed. And we have 3 here, and we're coming down. Right now, it's sitting right about $10.30, and yesterday's candle dropped all the way to $10.48. So I have to be long with this support sitting right below Rivian. I believe in Rivian as a company as well. I do think long-term this thing does well, but short-term, this trend line here is really, really nice. If it holds, calls, longs. If it breaks, bring out the bear, baby. Puts, short, all of those things. This is also an $11 stock. This is also a volatile stock that can move 10% in a day. So you could potentially trade commons on this if you're looking to be a little bit more of a risked-off trader. So you don't have a ton of money, you're looking for something cheaper. This will move for you. If it bounces off the trend line, you can take commons, you can take calls. If it breaks the trend line, you can short it or you can take puts. Last one here, guys. I like to give these little squeezy ones because every once in a while these things go nuclear. And the one this week moved like crazy today, but since it is so highly shorted, I do think this could have a potential longer move in it. And it's going to be Groupon, GRPN. Just a second here, guys. I'm going to take a drink and then I'll give you the full analysis. All right, so this thing is 35% short. 35. Okay, wait. Before I get into this, guys, we're about to move into the section where I do stocks that you guys ask for. So put some stocks in the chat And after I'm done with this one, I'll pull up some of your guys' charts. And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up on this thing. I don't see the thumbs up until after the video's over. So I'll be checking. Last time I think we got like 120, 140. The first time I think we got like 150 or something like that. So thumbs up this thing. Give it a good thumbs up. And yeah, drop those tickers in the chat and I'll get to them. All right, back to Groupon here. So we had an earnings report yesterday. And tanked, didn't do well in the earnings, but news came out and this thing shot up, gapped up, crazy gap up based on the earnings and the news that came with it. After open is what I'm really concerned with here. After open, this thing moved from $12.20 all the way to $14 and closed near highs. When you are 35% shorted and you have such an aggressive move after a gap up from $9.75 to $12, already $10 to $12 overnight, and then you move from 12 to 14 during the day, I am smelling the shorts burning. I am smelling the shorts burning. They are getting squeezed right now. I think this could potentially be one of those that has a little bit of an extended rally in it. So I think we watch it a week, 2 weeks, see what it does. But I think this is on watch for a squeeze, guys. I really, really do. It could potentially need a pullback. And if we are going to look at a pullback, there is a key level in here that we can kind of highlight. So all the way from about $12.70 up to $14 is going to be a key level. So it's right above that key spot. We can move this top side down just a bit here. So more like $13.50-ish. So $12.70 to $13.50-ish. Watch for that level. Watch for it to pull back to that level. And then if we can continue higher off of that, I think the squeeze is really, really on. But please be careful. This is, again, a crazy mover. This is a cheaper stock. This is also a potential short, so it's going to have volatility both ways. There's a chance the thing goes down 10% in a day. There's a chance the thing goes up 50% in a day. It has a lot of potential. It also has a lot of risk attached to that potential. So if you're going to watch Groupon, be careful, but I do see a lot of chance of this popping to the upside pretty significantly. Okay, let's get into the names that you guys have requested. First one is going to be Intel. RMB requested this one. This thing is up quite a bit after hours, I think. Let me get after hours. Maybe it doesn't label. Okay, maybe it doesn't want to tell me. All right, anyways, let's keep going here. So this is off of our bottom that we have here. Pretty clean bottom in this area, about $18.97, about $19. We've bottomed in that area, what is this, 5-6 times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 times. The one thing I will say about when something is bottomed in an area so many times is you have to wonder how strong that support actually is if it keeps getting tested. We usually want to see a support or resistance get tested 1 to 3 times and then create a significant move. And so the fact that this has gotten tested 6 times, it makes me really question if this support is actually significant or if this support is maybe weaker than it looks because it's not getting true reversals off of that support. I do think there's a very low risk, high reward trade in here where you buy right near this support, stop loss right below. If it breaks it, you're out. I just don't like when we test the support this many times. Like that's just one of the things that I've seen over time that's a red flag is when a support gets tested, this many times. And so for me, I would not be looking to be long on this. I also know a little bit about Intel from just a fundamental perspective. And I'm just not a fan of them from a company, financial, fundamental perspective. I just don't love them. And we keep revisiting this zone. I just can't do it. Okay, next one from Ben is Boeing. Let's talk about Boeing. One thing I will say that I do know about Boeing is that we've seen a lot of institutional adding on Boeing. Institutions have been scooping this up. And I think the reason They've probably been scooping this up as they know Boeing's not going anywhere. No matter what Boeing does, no matter how many people Boeing kills, no matter how many tragedies are at the hands of Boeing, Boeing is not going anywhere. Boeing is one of, I believe, 2 massive commercial plane makers in the world. One of 2. Not a monopoly, but one of 2. And I'm not sure if how many of you guys go on flights often. How often are they Boeing planes? Very fucking often. So I think that's partially why institutions are scooping this up. And as I was talking earlier, we do want to be on the same side as institutions. We want to see what they're leaving us, see what footprints they're leaving in the sand, and usually we want to be on the same side as them. And so that already gives Boeing a little bit of like a, I don't know if it's, a little bit of a good grade in my mind or a little bit of a brownie point maybe, but Boeing already has a little bit of an edge here because of those things for me. Technically here, it's nothing special. Technically, it's not anything crazy. There is this lower trend line here, which, let me get this drawn in. It's more of a trend zone, so let's just do the zone. Let's do this right? I'm not going to half-ass this thing. Boom. There it is. Perfect. There's our trend zone. Back in 2020 crash, we dropped down, first tap of the line. Then in 2022, second tap. And then later in 2022, third tap. And then in 2024, November, fourth tap. And now we're on the 5th tap. I want to bring your guys' attention to the aggressive bounce right off of it. So 5th tap, the bounce was aggressive. Buyers stepped up pretty heavily. Volume has not really surged yet. That's the next thing I'm going to look for here. If we get a volume surge on one of the next few candles, hopefully paired with a bullish candle, I'm going to be bullish on Boeing. There's a lot of things lining up here. Long-term trend line, aggressive move right off of the trend line, institutions adding such a large market share. I'll be bullish on Boeing. So last thing, Ben, to look for is that volume surge that is paired with a bullish move. All right. Next one I see, Fernando says Wolf. Let's check this out. Wolf speed. Okay, interesting. Kind of a triple bottom here. Get the rectangle in here. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Does have a little bit of a downtrend look. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, this thing has been getting annihilated. Wow. In 2022, this was a $140 stock. That's a red flag. That is a big time red flag. Although if we look at this, there's not very many bottoming periods since this big downtrend has happened. There's not many multiple bottoms. So this is kind of the beginning of the downtrend. The first bottom here, no multiples. Second bottom, no multiples. This is the only one that kind of looks similar, but it's still a little bit downsided. We still broke lower here, and then lower, and then lower, and then lower, and that's where we are. I do like this support that we have here, Fernando. I do think that this $5 area is a good place to be on Wolf. I'm not overly comfortable saying I'm completely bullish on this. I'll be 100% honest. I'm not ready to say I think this is bullish. I do think, I don't know. I think I'm more 50-50 on this due to how strong this downtrend has been. I don't want to give you a bullshit answer, and I don't want to say like I'm feeling one way when I'm not really feeling one way. I won't do that to you, and I'm not really feeling either direction. I'm kind of feeling like I wouldn't touch this, in my opinion, with how strong that downtrend is. Even though this setup is leaning bullish, I don't like trading things that are down that much and are basically getting, crushed 95% in 2-3 years. So for me, this would just have to be a hard pass from a trade perspective. Hope that helped, Fernando. I know it's probably not the answer you were looking for. All right, Dave is asking about ARM. Let's look at ARM. Okay. Oh, what do we have here? A little bit of a trend line here. It's a trend zone again. Yeah, there's for sure a trend zone here. Okay, so this can even get extended much further then. Now that it's a zone. So this thing, is this an IP? Yeah, okay. So this thing became public in 2023. And since then, we've respected this zone here. Let me make sure to get this all the way perfect. There we go. Perfect. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times between 2023 and 2025. We just broke that. And long story short, when you break something that's been significant for so long, usually you need a very significant move to play that out. So with this trend line being historically pretty strong over the last 2 or 3 years, you're going to need an extended move to fully feel like that has played out and it's time for the next cycle. Right now, I think we're still in this key level break cycle. And so for me, the move from about 160 to 112 isn't enough, considering that the trend line was actually sitting at 130. So 130 down to 112, to me, that's not enough. I think that we will need lower. What I would say is the zone to watch for is going to be about $80 up to 95-ish. I hope that helps, Dave. I'm going to move on. Mercedes asks for BLD. Let's do a little BLD top build. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm vibing with this one a little bit more. Mercedes. I like this. So we have this key zone here, which is marked by, was that all-time high at the time? Yeah, which is marked by all-time highs that were made in 2021, all-time highs that were made in 2023, and then this recent January 2025 bounce. So 3 different times this zone has been respected, and this zone sits about 280 to about 305. I'm just going to keep this very, very short and sweet. I am liking this. I think that this is bullish. Pretty similar to that other chart I was talking about earlier. The one thing I will want to see out of this is some sort of volume pop, which back here, we got a nice little volume candle right above this zone. That's the type of volume I would like to see. One of these surges, which we do have some signs of accumulation on this name as well. There are some bearish spikes here, but there are more bullish spikes over the past probably 6 months. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was one a few days ago, and there have been a few bearish, like I said, but not as many as bullish. What I want to see next out of this is to get a little bit of separation from the zone and probably break this 320 level. This 320 level was resistance. Is that Monday? On Monday, we got up there and then we rejected that. So break out, get a little bit of separation from this zone, and then break this 320 level. Those are the 3 things I'm going to be looking for. But I am bullish on this Mercedes. Okay, guys, that's going to be all I have time for from a stock chart perspective. I do want to leave you guys with something. I do just want to tell you guys I appreciate the hell out of you guys for being here. And one thing that every single beginner trader who's trying to work through the obstacles and stuff needs to know is it's worth it in the end, guys. I say this a lot. I post this a lot on Twitter, but it is worth every single trial and tribulation to be able to decide when you get a day off to just spend with your kids. It's worth it to be able to just not have to answer to a boss. It's worth it to be able to know that you have your kids' college secured. You have money for years secured. You can, if something comes up, you can take care of it. If medical bills come up, you can take care of it. So I know a lot of you guys are probably in the unprofitable stages or beginning stages of profitability, and you're not really trusting it. But just stick with it, guys. Keep showing up to these streams. Keep showing up to your trading communities, whoever you trade with. If you don't, find a good trading community, because those are the people who are going to keep you going. But just keep working, guys. Keep putting your head down. Keep analyzing your losses. That is a huge one. Analyze every single loss. You take a loss, analyze it, because those are what you're going to learn the most from. And these are all things that I've talked about a ton, so I don't want to kind of like hammer it in too much, because I know I've said it a lot, but just keep going, guys. It's worth it. Walk through hell to make it if you have to. One thing I always tell people is the upside of becoming a successful trader is worth every single obstacle. It's also worth the risk of never making it, because some people may never make it as traders, but the reward at the end of the journey of this, if you're able to get there, is worth everything that you could possibly give up to get there. It's worth every single penny of market tuition you could pay, because what's at the end is as close to an infinite money glitch as humanly possible. If you can figure out the market, if you can understand the market, you can make money in a lot of different environments, and you can make money pretty much consistently for yourself. You don't have to work the job. You don't have to answer to the boss. You don't have to do all those things. So just keep working, keep trying, keep coming in every single day, keep showing up, keep watching the market. It is worth it. Do not give up. All right, guys. Again, I appreciate the hell out of all of you guys for being here. We will do it again next week. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being awesome. Thank you guys for talking in the chat. Yeah, that is all I got. This was an awesome buy high, sell low.